Their breathing slowly began to steady, the earlier urgency fading into something softer, quieter. Each inhale came more evenly, each exhale less strained, until the rhythm between them settled. The world felt still around them, as if everything beyond this moment had paused. No movement, no sound, only the lingering quiet that followed. Lan Wangji remained where he was, lying over him, their skin still pressed together. The warmth between them had not yet faded, his weight firm but unmoving, his heartbeat steady against Wei Ying's chest. Slow, controlled, Wei Ying's body remained warm beneath him, a faint tremor still passing through him in the lingering aftershocks. The movement was slight but unmistakable, as if the moment had not fully left him yet. Lan Wangji's forehead had come to rest against his shoulder, his breath quiet, measured, close enough to be felt against his skin. He did not lift his head. He did not move away. His fingers had tightened without notice, tangled in the sheets, in hair, in skin, holding on without intention. For the first time in years, no, in his life, he felt complete. This, this was real. Not a fantasy, not something fleeting that would vanish with a breath, not a dream. Wei Ying is here. He kissed him. He held him. There had been no hesitation, no distance left between them. He chose him. He wanted to speak, but no words formed. Nothing rose past the tight stillness in his chest, nothing strong enough to break the quiet. So he listened to their shared breath, slow and even between them, to the steady heartbeat beneath his cheek, constant and close, to the silence that settled around them, no longer distant, no longer cold, but something that held. His fingers rested lightly against Wei Wuxian's side, not gripping, not holding, just there, careful, restrained. Had he gone too far? The thought came quietly, but it stayed. His lashes lowered, his gaze unfocused in the dimness of the room. He remembered everything, every sound, every breath, every small reaction Wei Ying had tried and failed to hide. Lan Wangji's hand stilled. Wei Ying had not pushed him away, but that alone was not enough. It had never been enough. For years, he had held himself back, buried everything, endured in silence. Even now, after everything that had just passed between them tonight, that restraint had not faded. If anything, it had sharpened. Was Wei Ying certain? Did he truly understand what this meant? Because for Lan Wangji, it was not fleeting. It had never been something light or momentary. It was everything. Then Wei Ying spoke. Lanja, thank you. The words were soft, but they struck Lan Wangji like a blade, quiet, precise, leaving no part of him untouched. Wei Ying continued to speak, his voice still soft, still close. Thank you. You've helped me so much. I don't know what else to tell you. Towards you, I feel each word landed heavier than the last, the weight of them settling in slowly, almost too slowly to stop. Lan Wangji's blood went cold. He had expected, no, he had hoped for something more, something that would match what had just passed between them, something that would not leave this quiet feeling so one-sided. Anything but this. Gratitude. Wei Ying is thanking him, not holding him, not whispering that he feels the same towards him, not I love you. And in that moment, Lan Wangji's world tilted. All that he had kept pressed down for 13 years began to surface, slowly, but all at once. The restraint, the longing, the sacrifices, the pain of watching Wei Ying die, the quiet ache of keeping him alive in absence, in silence, in song. The fragile hope he had never allowed to fully form that maybe he might one day come back. He thought Wei Ying had misunderstood it all, that this had been nothing more than kindness, something given out of habit, out of who Lan Wangji had always been. A moment lost to impulse, a drunk mistake that meant nothing beyond the night, a quiet repayment of a debt, returned at last and nothing more. His body moved before his mind could stop it. Wei Ying was gently pushed off him, the distance created in a single quiet motion, not harsh, not angry, but final. Wei Ying blinked at him, stunned. The shift too sudden to understand. He did not speak, and neither did Lan Wangji. Their eyes met and stayed. Too long, too quiet, too raw. Lan Wangji wanted to speak, to ask quietly, desperately, "Tell me I misunderstood it. Tell me you didn't mean it like that. Tell me you want me, not just my silence." But Wei Ying was already pulling the blanket over himself, the movement quick, almost instinctive. Lan Wangji followed quietly. His hand reached for the edge of the bedding, a faint tremor running through it as he drew it up and tugged it around Wei Ying's waist with careful precision. He stood. The movement was abrupt, almost unsteady, as if staying still any longer would have made something inside him break. He needed to move, to do something, to put distance between thought and feeling before it collapsed into him completely. He gathered his clothes with trembling fingers. The fabric slipped once before he caught it again, tighter this time as if grip alone could steady him. One sleeve at a time, one breath at a time. The motions were familiar, but his body did not follow them easily. Each step of dressing felt heavier than it should have, like even routine had turned uncertain. The air against his skin felt wrong now, cold, empty. The warmth that had lingered moments before was gone, leaving behind something stark and hollow in its place. He felt exposed, more so than when he had been undressed. He heard the rustling behind him, Wing shifting under the blanket, pulling it tighter around himself. The sound was small, but it cut through the silence sharply, too clear in the space between them. Then softly, Wing asked, "Are you sober?" His sash remained half tied, fingers frozen mid motion, the fabric slipping slightly between them before going still. For a moment, he did not continue, did not turn, as if any movement might fracture what little control remained. He looked forward instead, eyes fixed on nothing, unblinking, as though stillness alone could hold him together. Then he answered with a quiet, certain, controlled. Behind him there was a pause, too brief, too loaded. He heard it before he saw anything of it. A shift in breath, the smallest break in being's steadiness, and then the sound of his voice changing, not breaking, not openly, but carefully reshaping itself, like something being forced into place as he spoke again. "Well, I'm awake too." The words came lighter than before, deliberately so, as if softness alone could undo the weight of the stillness. But it did not reach him the way it was meant to. Then Wangji's hands stopped moving completely, because something in those words did not belong to the moment they had just shared, and yet it was all that remained of it now. Wayne continued as he dressed himself. "This kind of thing, it's normal, right? Happens with drunk people. Don't take it too seriously." Lanja's world seemed to fall apart in that moment. Those words cut deeper than any sword ever could. Quiet, careless, reshaping everything that had just been real between them into something unrecognizable. Because what had just happened was not something his mind could file away as ordinary, not something that could be reduced to a mistake, not something that could be dismissed so easily. Normal? It was not a question meant for Wei Ying, but something that slipped out before thought could catch it. Don't take it seriously? He repeated it again, slower this time, as if saying it correctly might somehow change what it meant. It came out flat, almost detached, as if spoken at a distance from himself. But the silence that followed was anything but. Disbelief settled in first, then something sharper beneath it, quiet and breaking. Heartbreak forming where restraint had begun to fail. How could you? Does he not know? Does he not feel it? Does he truly think this had been nothing more than drunken fumbling? Wing went quiet. The lightness that had been in his voice a moment ago faded abruptly, as if it had never been there at all. The space he had tried to fill with ease collapsed into something much smaller, much heavier. The joke died in his throat. A pause followed, too long to be casual. too fragile to be anything else. And then softly he spoke, "I'm sorry." Lan Wangji did not move. His heart beat harder, sharper, as if reacting before thought could intervene. He wanted to speak. "Don't apologize. It wasn't a mistake. It meant everything to me." But none of it left him. Then a knock came at the door. The innkeeper's voice followed, sharp with complaint and confusion, speaking about noise the disturbance carried through thin walls. Lan Wangji answered quietly, firmly, distantly, his tone composed, measured, as if nothing within him had shifted at all. But inside, his thoughts pressed louder than the storm outside, rising and breaking against everything he was trying to hold together. Wei Ying stood a little apart, still flushed, his robes thrown on loosely, edges uneven where haste had replaced care. His head remained slightly lowered, gaze avoiding everything it could reach. He looked anywhere but at Lan Wangji, and then softly he spoke. "Maybe we should get separate rooms." Lan Wangji hesitated. He did not want to leave. He did not want distance to return so quickly, not after what had just been shared between them, not after the silence that had already begun to feel like loss. He did not want walls between them again, thin as they might be, but he said nothing. He gave a small nod instead. Then he turned away and walked to the table, movements controlled but heavy in a way that did not show. His hand reached for his forehead ribbon. He tied it slowly, fingers trembling ever so slightly as the familiar motion turned unsteady in his hands. The ribbon was pulled tighter than usual. He needed the pressure, something firm, something grounding, anything to keep himself from loosening at the edges, from letting what was inside spill outward where it could not be controlled. Across the room, Wei Ying watched in silence. No smile, no teasing, nothing light remained in his expression now. Only something quieter, harder to name, like regret settling in after everything had already been said too late. The corridor felt colder than before, the space between them now carefully measured, carefully maintained. Wei Ying paused at the doorway of his new room, and then softly he spoke, "Sorry about tonight." At the sound of his voice, Lan Wangji turned. His movement was slow, unhurried, but immediate, as if he had been waiting for even the smallest excuse to look back. His eyes were soft and sad in a way that did not ask to be understood, but still could not be hidden. Then quietly he spoke, "You do not have to say that to me." The words were steady, controlled, but what they carried was not. "I wanted this. I do not regret it. You never have to apologize for giving me a moment of you." Wei Ying did not say anything else after that. He walked inside, and the door closed softly behind him, the sound final in a way that lingered longer than it should have. Lan Wangji remained standing there for a moment, unmoving, as if the space itself had not yet permitted him to leave. Only after some time longer than necessary, longer than intended, did he finally step inside his own room. The air inside was cold. Clean sheets were folded neatly across the bed, untouched, waiting in a way that felt almost unfamiliar now. The emptiness of it pressed quietly against the edges of his awareness. He sat down, still, composed, silent. But inside, Lan Wangji was still there, lying on the bed, on Wei Ying's chest, the memory of his fingers in his hair still lingering as if time had refused to move forward. He closed his eyes. The blanket around his shoulders became something else in his mind, something softer, something warmer, imagined as arms that were no longer there. The pillow beneath him held nothing of scent, nothing of presence. He tried briefly to pretend otherwise. It did not work. On the other side of the wall, just a few steps away, was the person he had loved since he was 16. So close, it should have felt like relief. Instead, it felt like distance taking shape again. And quietly, without movement, he thought, maybe now it was too late. Maybe after all this time, after all the waiting, after all the restraint and longing that had shaped every year between them, He had finally reached him, only to lose him again. He remained raw, still unsteady beneath the surface, still unsure where any of this had truly left him. He did not know if Wing regretted what had happened. He did not know if the silence meant distance being chosen, or simply confusion taking shape in another form. He did not know if he was allowed to hope anymore. Only one thing remained certain, unshaken even in this quiet uncertainty. He loved him. He always had. And if protecting him meant returning to silence again, if that was what kept Wing steady, kept him safe, kept him from regret, then he would do it.